Something I really enjoy doing on Facebook is posting in big, beautiful, bold letters. Unpopular opinion, ... After those dots, I proceed with my unpopular opinion. One of my most recent unpopular opinions, because I have many. That's because when I'm trying to form my opinion, whether it's popular or not is not a factor when I'm weighing my opinion. Is it true? Is there empirical evidence and data to suggest? Is it more believable than the alternatives, and can it stand up to scrutiny? Whether it's popular or not is irrelevant in my assessment. This was my unpopular opinion. If you cannot afford rent, insurance, and food for the month, you shouldn't be worried about saving endangered species or saving unequal people who are oppressed in other countries. You should be worried about paying your damn bills. A lot of individuals, they're worried about somebody else, somewhere else, anyone else, anywhere else, instead of themselves. Each time you neglect yourself, that is less time you have to spend improving yourself, spiritually, financially, mentally, and so on and so forth. This particular statement flooded the depths of my subconscious mind because of a particular circumstance that took place in my life that was a microcosm of a greater problem. It was a symptom of a greater problem in society today. I worked 8 hours. I mowed my lawn after working 8 hours. As I was mowing my lawnmower, ran over a golf ball. It sucked up the golf ball. I had to pry the golf ball off with a steel hammer, the claw of the hammer, and then I had to do some maintenance on it. After performing the maintenance and then finishing my yard, I ordered some food. As I was enjoying my food and dozing off to take a little cat nap, my phone rang. I saw that it was a friend who I haven't heard from in a while. They are in another state, living on campus of a university. We exchanged pleasantries. How are you? How are your family members? How's your academic career going? How's your work career going? And so on and so forth. And then he proceeded to ask me, have you seen President Trump's tweet today? He was enraged by it, and I told him, I said, no, I've been busy all day. This morning I went to the gym, I worked 8 hours, mowed my lawn, fixed my lawnmower, and now I just started getting something to eat. And then he called. And I'm happy to hear from you, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but this is my first ounce of free time I had all day. He was going on and on and on and on. I just let him talk. He said, what do you think? I said, about what? He said, about the tweet. I said, not much. I'm not worried about it. He said, why? I said, there's 2 reasons. Number one, his tweets are not legislation. When he says something on Twitter, it has no effect whatsoever over your individual life. It is not a law that is legislated. In fact, the president doesn't even write the laws anyway. He signs bills that are legislated by Congress. So I don't understand the relevance this has to my life. Number two, on an average day, which is 24 hours long, I work 8 hours. I try to get 8 hours of sleep if I can, at least 7 or 8. So that leaves me maybe 8 hours of spare time. But normally, I also have other responsibilities, like getting my oil changed, paying my bills, fixing things around the house, cooking, cleaning, stuff like that. That would leave me around maybe 5 or 6 hours. Why on my 5 or 6 hours of free time would I want to waste it worrying about what the president says on Twitter? He was speechless. He had nothing to say. But this kind of made me think about a greater problem. That is the disconnection of American citizens. Kids in college, typically, their tuition has all of the costs they need. They're not worried about not getting to eat. I mean, they're not going to eat like a gourmet meal, but they're never going to starve. Their lights are never going to go out. Their internet is never going to go out. Their heat, air conditioning, and so on and so forth. They don't have to worry about their necessities, getting groceries, paying bills, because all of those costs are factored in to their tuition. They typically only go to school 2 or 3 days a week. Then they study for a few hours. That still leaves them spare time. That's why they're always protesting, volunteering for political organizations. They're all about saving endangered species, going green, stopping Trump, all of these other things. They're very idealistic. And then when they get out into the real world, when they start working, when they start paying bills, when they start worrying about survival, they don't have time to worry about that stupid bullshit anymore. There's only a second group of people that fit into this category. So, after my unpopular opinion, I commented, I said on a side note, I didn't say FYI because it is not for your information. I already gave you information. I am simply adding to that information. It's not PS because it's not on a postal document. I put on a side note, ... and then I preceded it with, I think the reason that a lot of people who are extremely rich are able to work in the arts, historical societies, and political organizations is because they have extra money and time. And when you have extra money and time, you do not have to worry about survival, so you can focus on those things. But the average person cannot. So on the one hand, in these groups, you have the college students. Not only are they indoctrinated from their Marxist professors about how capitalism's bad, America sucks, but they have a lot of free time on their hands. They are able to protest, join these organizations, virtue signal, and all these other things. The other side of the same coin are the career activists. They don't work in industry. They have never dug a ditch for construction. They've never laid a brick. They've never ran a cash register. They've never have really worked a real job. As a result, they are completely disconnected from everyone else. A lot of them, their daddy, and in some cases their grampy, had a lot of money. As a result, they were able to live affluently, travel abroad, live in gated communities disconnected from the rest of us, and enjoy immunities that we never got to enjoy, which is fine. I don't even care if someone has more money than me. That's fine with me. I just don't like people trying to virtue signal to me or try to control my life. You do what you do, I'll do what I do. I don't care what you do. That's fine. Just don't bother me. Just don't hurt me. That being said, these particular individuals went to these affluent universities like Harvard, Yale, and Princeton because they had daddy's influence. I bet daddy donated quite a bit of money to those universities as well. When they get out, a lot of them, they marry rich husbands. Not only do they have daddy's money, but they have rich husbands. They're not worried about groceries, their car payment, putting gas in their vehicle to get to work, waiting to their next paycheck. Since they're not worried about those things, they have more time on their hands, similar to these college students. Most of them probably do not know what the price of eggs is or what the cost of a gallon of milk is. They're that disconnected. I honestly think people should not be making legislation over your life who do not know how much a dozen eggs cost and how much a gallon of milk costs. Because they're so disconnected, they don't know what it's like. They cannot make proper legislation. But that's another story for another day. The foot soldiers for these organizations, the ones that go out and protest, that wear the pussy hats, that hold the signs, they're typically the college students, the young people, the 18 to 23 crowd. Sometimes they're up, but that's your typical median demographic. And then at the top, you have the donors, the organizations like the ACLU, the Open Society Foundation, that is run by George Soros. You look at their board of directors, these individuals are elitist. They're career activists. One of the women in one of the organizations works at the Woodrow Wilson House. She spends 6 hours a day at some bullshit historical society venue. Who has time to do all that? I don't have time to do all that. If you're working in between going to the grocery store, going to work, going to PTA meetings with your kids, balancing your life, having some time to spend with your lovely wife, when do you have time to spend 6 to 8 hours at a political or historical venue? You don't. So these individuals' lives are completely consumed with politics. That is all they have. Nothing else. Honestly, if you have nothing better to do than to fly to Washington, D.C., to wear a pussy hat and to scream obscenities at individuals that you perceive to be more privileged than you and the oppressors, and you're the oppressed, or you are fighting for the oppressed, you don't have much going on in your life. It's either one or the other. One, you don't have to work very often, so you have a hell of a lot of free time. Or two, you don't have any damn hobbies. And because you don't have any damn hobbies, that is all you have is politics. Hell, if I had a lot of money and a lot of time, I would go stay in a fucking cabin in the middle of the fucking woods, go hunting, go fishing, go explore the world, disconnect from reality. I wouldn't go in a damn protest. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't create legislation. It doesn't put food on people's table. I looked at how much it would cost. I was just curious how much it would cost for a plane ticket, a two-way plane ticket, a hotel room, the food you would need, all of the amenities you would need to go to the Women's March. If you wanted to be comfortable, it would be about $300 or $400. What I did was, I found a cause that I believed in. I donated $300 or $400, and to me, I feel like that was better spent because that money went directly to the individuals who are involved. I could have got a sign and screamed on the side of the street corner, but I failed to see how that would have helped put food on people's table or shoes on their feet. I think the main problem is these individuals do not live in the real world. They are disconnected, and as a result, they're worried about white privilege. LGBTQ, illegal immigrants, everyone but themselves and the working class individuals in this country. When you go to the grocery store, you see individuals looking for the best deal. You see people trying to make it by. Black, white, straight, gay, tall, short, of all different races, all different colors. They're all trying to make it by. What really annoys me is when I put in a full day's work, when I work 8 hours, when I do house repairs, I'm exhausted. As I'm laying down in my recliner, I see some elitist, pussy-ass faggot on TV talking about white privilege. About how if you're white, you have privileges. What type of privileges do I have? Getting blisters on my hand from digging? Getting sunburnt from being in the hot sun all day? What type of privileges do I have, you motherfucker? You're sitting in an air conditioning news studio with your daddy's money, not working a real job, and you want to talk about how I'm privileged. Go fuck yourself. So I think that is the biggest disconnect between the working class, whose primary duties involve survival, versus the ruling class, the elites who go to these universities, and the college students that attend these universities who think it is their job to save the whales and to end racism worldwide. Both these groups want to come together, restructure society, restructure the economic system, the political system, restructure individuals' lives in society, because society is a collection of individuals, in order to say that they know better because they know how to help the oppressed. And that is by defeating who they perceive to be the oppressors, even though most individuals are not part of the equation. And if you are oppressed or are an oppressor, you probably aren't part of the equation either.